So we're going to do the QAR lesson off of the book, The Blind Man and the Elephant.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
The book?
Yes.
No.
Okay. So this is the story we can look at together.
Okay.
QAR is a literacy tool used to increase comprehension and help students think more deeply.
Okay.
And so I found a video that we can watch to kind of go over it as well.
So when you work with the second period students,
Mhm.
will they have a hard copy of this?
I can, yeah,
Okay.
and I can make them like packets.
Yeah, I
So
think that would be
even if
good.
they're partnered with
Yeah.
someone, okay. And then this is a little graphic organizer for
Okay.
you today.
Okay.
It will help you to think more deeply about the books that you read. So let's get started. Please use your graphic organizer to follow along with the book. There are two types of questions to ask about a story. The first is called in the book. In the book questions require answers that are found within the text. There are two kinds of in the book questions. The first is called right there questions, and are pieces of information that are really easy to find, such as what is the color of Jack's snowsuit. So go ahead and fill in the description of right there questions on your graphic organizer.
Okay, so information that is easy to find, found directly in the book. And I don't know if something like this would be good to do with your students, like to break it down for them, for what they're looking for. That might help them.
I think it would be good, but I want to make a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of them writing all of this, because some of them their writing is really laborious,
Okay.
what might be better is if you did sort of a sorting thing.
Okay.
So where they sorted the in the book from the in my head. So
Okay,
if they were
so
already
they
written out
already
and all they
have
had
to
to do
do-
was sort them,
Okay.
that might be better.
Gotcha. Yes.
It might be better
Okay.
use of time.
Okay. Yeah.
The second is called think and search. This one requires a little more thinking on your part. Think and search questions are usually about the overall message or theme of the book. Go ahead and fill in your think and search description on your graphic organizer. The second type of question, besides in the book, is called in my head. In my head questions are just how they sound. They require information that is already in your brain. The first type of in my head question is author and me. Author and me questions relate to the book, but ask you to also pull some information from your own head. See the author and me section of your graphic organizer? Go ahead and fill it in now. The second type of in my head question is called on my own. These kinds of questions will only ask you information you already know. You won't even need to use the text to answer them. So now you can complete the on my own part of your graphic organizer. Let's go ahead and use the book This Snowy Day to practice our QAR questions.
So for example, it might be a good idea, like you could give them this
Mhm.
blank, and then maybe we could put
Have, like,
these
little
like in
cards.
boxes and already have them cut up like in a baggie,
Perfect.
so that
Okay.
while they're watching, they just put it where it
Where they go.
belongs.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we can just jump and read our story if
Okay.
we want, and that way we're not
Okay.
read through our story and then decide. I have questions typed, and we can decide where they go. And this also is, it'll cause them to think a little out of the box,
Okay.
so to see how you think it'll relate with some of them.
Okay.
Do you want to read it out loud? We can do parts, or you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
That's fine. It was 6 men of Indistan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl. God bless me, but the elephant is very like a wall. You might also want to, when we read this with them, there might be a couple of words we want to define for them, unless they have the opportunity to ask, like, if a student had a question about what a word meant, does that
Mhm.
qualify as a QAR in my head question? Like if their question, for
Um.
example, was, what does inclined mean?
I don't think it is, because
Okay.
they're supposed to be questions that are given,
Okay.
well, the way we have it is it's questions that we give them, but we
Okay.
could adjust it to make a question that they come up with.
Okay, either way, if
Okay.
not, then I'm thinking we might want to tell them what some of the words
Yeah,
mean,
like ahead of
so
time.
they understand.
Okay.
The second feeling of the tusk cried, "Oh, what have we here, so very round and smooth and sharp to me? It's mighty clear. This wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the animal, and happening to take the squirming trunk within his hands, thus boldly up and spake. See, for example, we'll need to tell him that spake just really meant said. "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out an eager hand and felt about the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is mighty plain," quoth he. "'Tis clear enough the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch the ear, said, "E'en the blindest man can tell what this resembles most. Deny the fact who can. This marvel of an elephant is very like a fan." The sixth no sooner had begun about the beast to grope, than seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a rope." And so these men of Indostan disputed loud and long, each in his opinion exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right, and all were in the wrong. Moral. So oft in theologic wars, the disputants, I ween, rail on in utter ignorance of what each other mean, and prate about an elephant not one of them has seen.
No, my thinking was
Cute.
I love this story. My thinking was to leave off the moral part
Okay.
and maybe come up with our own way of, because that's very,
Yeah. Or we could just ask the
Different verbiage.
students to determine what they think the moral is.
right, okay, have them decide. the
Yeah,
moral.
and put it in their own words.
Do they know what a moral is?
Yes, they know what a moral is.
Oh, good,
Mhm.
okay, great, great. All right, so I think I have some questions back here, and we can decide. I do.
Okay.
Yes. Now, I'm supposed to ask you and then decide what you think they fall in.
Okay.
The question, how did the six men feel when they couldn't agree on what the elephant was?
I believe it. Now they'll be able to refer back to this, right?
Mhm. Yes. How did the six men?
That is in my head, right? Satisfying his mind.
It is in my head.
Okay.
Do you remember which column it would go under? Is it on my own or the author and me?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes. How did the six men feel when they couldn't agree on what the elephant was?
I think that is on my own. Is that on my own? Or is that
I have it as author and me because
Okay.
it said they disputed, they
They
were
were
loud,
loud.
arguments, they were upset.
Okay.
So that would be
Okay.
in their head. And if you have any adjustments to make to these,
Okay.
please let me know. How many men went to learn about the elephant?
That's in the book. It's right there.
Mhm.
6.
Yes. Now explain why the six men went to see the elephant.
To learn, right? To learn, observe.
Mhm. Yes.
To learn and observe. That's more of a think and search,
Yes,
though.
it
Okay.
is, yeah. Good. You said they were intrigued. That might be another vocab. Do they intrigued?
That'll be a vocab word.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were going to describe an elephant to someone, how might you do that?
That's on your own.
Yes. What do you think the author means by, though each was partly in the right and all were in the wrong?
So that's author and me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the trunk of the elephant compared to or thought to be?
It's a swinging rope, I think. Right? Very like a rope,
That's the tail though.
right? Oh, I thought that's what you said. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What'd you
The
say?
trunk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said the tail.
That's okay.
The trunk. Like a snake, I think. To a snake. That ended up being thinking search for me because I missed it the first time. It's right
But
there.
it's supposed to be right there.
Because I misunderstood the question.
That's okay.
So if there's more than one that fits in here, will they draw a line or something
We
like
can
I'm
adjust
doing?
it. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
You can make it. I can make it
I'm just thinking.
horizontal.
Okay, I'm just thinking ahead. They're going to say, where do I write that? Because I
Yeah.
already wrote something
Yeah.
in that box.
Okay. I'll write 2 blocks.
About half of my class falls somewhere on the autism spectrum.
Right.
So they're very, they like everything to be very clear and concise in
Okay.
terms of where they're supposed to put things or where they're supposed to write things. So just thinking ahead a little bit, we're going to want to do something where we delineate if there's more than one answer more than one question, more than one answer that they can clearly know where it goes.
Where to put it.
Okay,
And I can even type up the question, so the only thing they have to write is the answer.
that'll work.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Now this one, why does one man think the tail is a rope?
Why does one man think the tail is a rope? I guess because he could seize it and it was swinging, so it's a
Mhm.
think and search,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Is that one a little too?
No,
Okay.
that was fine.
Okay. What do you already know about elephants?
That'd be on my own.
And I think that's all of them.
Okay.
So do you have any other question suggestions or a question you would like to create?
No. I take that back. I do think that maybe having a couple of vocabulary questions.
Okay,
Like,
yes.
what do you think resembles might mean? Or
Okay. I have
that kind of
inclined,
thing.
inclined, spake, intrigued, resembled,
Dispute.
okay.
um,
Are they gonna be confused by Indostan? Like, is that something, or if we just describe it?
I think
as
if you
a-
just say,
Okay,
like, just describe it as place, I think they'll be fine with that.
okay. So about 5 vocab words
Mhm.
before the story, okay.
Now, will they read this? Will you read it to them? How is that gonna work?
I can read it to them. I don't know what they're,
I think you should read it to them.
okay, read to story.
Yeah,
Okay.
because your focus here is on questioning comprehension,
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Not
Okay.
them fluency. in
Their
reading.
fluency, I think,
Right.
would greatly impede that if they
Okay.
were to read it, so.
Sure, yeah, no, that's great. Okay. And they'll understand a moral. Okay.
Yes, I think, yeah, they know what a moral, yes, they know what a moral is.
Okay, all right. Anything else I should adjust for them?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that'll work well.
All right, did you learn anything from the text or the lesson itself?
I like the story. I did learn something. The
Okay.
difference between those answers that are right there and those that they have to think and search for.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. All right.
I never really thought about that being two different kinds of questions. I've just always thought of that being answers that are in the text, answers that are not in the text. So
Do you think-
thinking about that, I think is good.
Right, do you think these are more, like they'll know them without having to even reference back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we already talked about adjustments for the students
Mhm.
themselves. Okay. And is there one question you think they're gonna struggle with the most, or that should be worded in any way?
I think the question they're going to struggle with the most is, what did they mean? It was one of the last questions you asked me, the last authoring question about what did they mean when they said part were right and part were wrong? That particular
Okay,
question.
yeah, and that's like a quote right out of
It's
the.
a quote from the book, but
right.
they struggle with those kinds of things that are not literal, that they
Okay,
can't take literally.
okay,
So I think that they will struggle with that question, but I think it will be a good struggle. I don't think
Okay.
you should change the question. I
Okay.
think that you should push them to think through it and figure it out.
okay,
You're just be prepared to talk about all of these.
all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think this is a 45-minute
Yes.
regular class period?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think that you're going to have to spend some time pre-teaching vocab,
Mhm.
and then I think a lot of the questions you're going to end up needing to have a discussion about in
Mhm.
order for them to find the answer. But that's good. That's okay.
Okay, all right. And do you like the video in the beginning, or do you
Yeah.
think just doing the sort of?
No, I like the
Okay.
video in the beginning.
Okay, good.